Hello Ratbags, Jade PLAYSGAMES, welcome to another Ark Survival Evolved news video. Today we've got even more crap news for you guys. Anyone expecting Ragnarok to come out today, you may have missed the actual video I put out saying it's been delayed. But on top of that delay, there has been another delay. So where does this all start from? Why has Ragnarok been delayed so much? It starts with an Xbox memory problem. They tried to make the graphics look better on a lot of the dinosaurs and gave them a little bit more sharpness, a bit more focus, as well as improving how they actually load in and stuff like that. That caused a massive memory leak. That's why if you've got big bases or you've got lots of dinosaurs, you're experiencing lots of lag, or you may be even being booted out of your game a lot. So for anyone having them types of problems, the update that is coming today should hopefully fix that. The wording from Wildcard is that they want to make the dinosaurs look as good as they can do on Xbox and PS4, but if there's memory issues, you can't play the game at the expense of good looking creatures. So hopefully that will be streamlined in the future and they may be able to do something to improve the fidelity of the actual creatures without causing huge memory crashes. So what is the new ETA for Ragnarok and the next patches for Xbox and PS4? Let's go through them all together. Jen put out a couple of days ago that Ragnarok would be looking likely to come on an ETA of 10th of July now instead of the 4th July. And that's for Xbox and PS4. However, only 2 days later they have now changed the release date again for another ETA. You can see here now it says July the 19th is the next current ETA for Ragnarok. And that's an ETA again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come out on that day. But before that, we've got two other updates for Xbox. You're expecting one today, which you can see here, it says it's fixing the memory related crash. Important note, lots of creatures in one location will temporarily result in some creatures not streaming in properly. They will look bad until next patch. Fix for single player creature spawns becoming depleted over time as they did not come out of hibernation properly. Again, lots of you reporting that certain creatures aren't spawning on your maps, or you're getting a massive influx of other creatures. Fix for not being able to put down your shoulder mounts. You guys have been saying to me you can't get rid of your creatures on your shoulder. That would be why. And again, I've mentioned this before, the fix for the inventory not displaying properly. If you actually look in any crafting bench or any furnace or whatever it is, you'll find all your items on the bottom, on the right of the bottom of the actual inventory. Click the item to sort and you should still see your items. They haven't been disappeared, they haven't wiped, they're just hiding. So this all started from a bad update that came out on Friday. 757 on Xbox gave you the different option now to activate the actual admin codes. You have to press LB, RB, X and Y now. You should all know that on the start menu. And if you still haven't caught my video telling you guys how to unlock the center map is now locked behind Gamma. You can see here it says type in cheat. Let's zoom in a little bit more. You can see it says if you'd like to play the centre map without advancing through the island, launch the island, then open the command menu. Type in cheat, leave a space, player command, leave a space, ascend to. Now previously Jen had put out a tweet and some small note on the actual forum saying you had to put ascend 1. It wasn't until I corrected her and said to her it wasn't working that they've made it to ascend 2. So if you've still not been able to get that code to work, make sure you do ascend 2. If it still doesn't work, make sure you use your levels that you're given. If you're doing Ascend 2, you should get up to like, I think it's 110 levels. So make sure you spend them points before exiting out of the game. If it freezes, leave it a few minutes when you do it. In fact, try and leave it about 7 to 10 minutes. I have heard a couple people say it worked after 10 minutes. If it doesn't, then just simply exit out of the game, load back into the game, and obviously don't create a new character. Load up the character that has already ascended. Obviously there was other bunch of stuff with the PC stuff, one of the biggest update fixes in a long time, with over 150 items fixed or corrected or implemented. So obviously maybe that contributed to the memory loss as well as all the big bases and dinos. But how does that affect Ragnarok? Ragnarok was meant to be a DLC, it was announced at E3, you would think it was already sewn up. Apparently not, it still relies heavily on the base game being correct. So that's why Ragnarok has been delayed, because of this memory problem. Although the memory problem is on Xbox, it would have ported over to the PS4 as well. So by fixing the Xbox problem, they'll hopefully be able to fix the PS4 problem before it gets updated. But on PS4, you're not going to get the update with the fix, with all the other stuff I just mentioned, the center being unlocked, the having to use the ascend command, with the admin commands changed. You're not going to get that till July the 12th. And that's a big amount of time after the Xbox has had its final fixes and hot fixes. Whether or not that's just an issue with Sony at the moment, they can only do like 1 week certification, not too sure, but it does look like you're going to have to wait till July the 12th to actually get all the other bug fixes and issues implemented. Worryingly though, you're not going to get the exact same update that Xbox has got so far. It says upcoming version 5.10 is coming out July 12th, and it's the PC equivalent of 2.59. Well, Xbox has just received 2.59 and 2.60 in one go. Now obviously there are problems with that update, so maybe that's why they've not done it that way, but who knows when we'll get the next lots of fixes in. Maybe it will just be 2.59 with all the corrections added to it. So just to recap, because it does get confusing with all the numbers, PlayStation, your next update with more bug fixes, the changes to the center map, the changes to admin control will not be coming to at least the 12th of July. Xbox users, you will get a hotfix patch today that should hopefully fix some of the problems with crashing. On top of all the patch issues, they are actually implementing another PC patch. A lot of the same problems on PC are the same problems on Xbox as well, so it does look like they're just correcting and fixing a lot of issues with that. One thing you may have noticed if you did get onto the center map on Xbox or PC is the sky is completely broke. It's very dark, it's very blue. That should be fixed as well in the next few days. There's a few key things from the PC update. I'm not going to go through them all, but you're going to have different resource rates in different locations from now on. The Snowbush resources, the 20% amount of the resource decreased, and they've increased snow trees by 200% the actual resources you get from it. The dung beetle is no longer aggressive unless provoked, and bats now have a 10% chance to give you rabies, just like the Megalania does. They've also improved the loot system. Underwater and cave crates now give you 2 items instead of 1. They've reduced the Troodon damage by 33%, get in, and they've reduced the Pegamastic health as well. There are a few other changes there, but like I said, I don't necessarily think they're worth going into just yet until it's ready to come to Xbox or PS4. So that is all the patch notes out of the way, guys. Xbox today, PC in the next 2 days, PS4 12th July. Alright guys, so I was about to actually publish the video when I noticed on Twitter a couple of people shouted out to me that said they'd updated something on Ark. Big shout out to Tyler and Barbara who notified me of it just as I was finishing it up. So the Xbox update should be now live, guys. It should have that correctional fix. It should be there, good to go. If you've seen dinosaurs like this, don't panic, it is meant to happen and I'm going to explain exactly why. So Jade has just updated the forum post with this as well. It's been a while since we've had to post one of these state of the game posts, but there's a lot going on at the moment and it might get a little crazy. So we'll do our best to keep you informed on how things are going to be for the next 2 weeks. Basically that means they fucked up with not giving us enough information and now they're trying to correct it, which is good. I'm glad they have, but if they'd have done this 4 or 5 days ago, it would have been so much better. I guess when Jade's on holiday, shit just goes to pan. So it's pretty much going over all the information I just said now about the Ragnarok being delayed because of the Xbox patch. I'm not going to read all that stuff. I will leave a link down below, you go and check it out for yourself. But the most important bit is we've introduced a measure which will control how the memory is allocated and streamed, therefore resulting in people seeing origami looking creatures in their base. This is because the amount of memory allocated for fresh streaming has already been used. So as you unload memory through playing, new things will get updated and will progress from origami looking to high quality. It takes about 2 minutes for something to unload completely, hence why Xbox has potato graphics and has had for a while now. This won't affect small bases as much, but it will impact larger looking bases. We had to put this in to prevent players from having an out of memory crash which would shut down the application and return you to the dashboard. So they are going to work on it more to streamline it and get much better gains. So exactly all the stuff I've gone through, guys, but just giving it in a a nice little post for you to go and read if you want to. And they talk about having their PS4 ready and having all 3 versions ready up and around after the 12th. And then he just finalises and says it sucks and it's just both for long term and short term health for the game's development, and that by the delay to the 19th it means they can focus on stuff and wrap up the console builds and get them ready for Ragnarok. So I'm going to insert this here just after I finish talking about the Xbox stuff, and I'm going to carry on with the rest of the video. Now I put out my video telling you guys that Ragnarok was delayed It's a phenomenal amount of views that it's picked up. Obviously you guys are really hyped about receiving it today, but it's not coming today. It won't be coming next week. It looks like it might not even come in 2 weeks time. 757 comments. You guys are picking it apart. I would say around 90% of the comments are not very happy with the way Wildcard have done things, including me. But there are about 10% of you that think we should just chill and just accept the fact that there is a delay and that's it, get on with it. Whatever your opinion, always keep commenting, always put what you think about the situation. But just keep it sweet and don't necessarily insult me, because generally I will just bite back. I can have my opinion, it's my channel, I give you guys the news and I always give you my opinion. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't. It's just part and parcel of following me. You don't have to, but that's the way my channel runs. And it really just seems like no one knows what they're talking about or doing. Only 14 hours ago, Jade is saying they was aiming to have Ragnarok out on the 10th. Yet fast forwards 10 hours later, oh no, it's been moved to the 19th. Where do they get these dates from? Do they just pull it out of fucking thin air or what? I have absolutely no problem with a delay to something. But this isn't the first time something's been delayed. It's not the first time they've been really shit at communicating it. Primitive Plus was meant to come out. It was revealed at E3. It didn't come out on console for another month. Primal Survival was revealed. Not a word was said about it for nearly 6 months. Until they finally decided that it was actually going to put on hiatus. SOTF was revealed. It had a trailer going for it and everything stating it would come to PS4. Yet they only cancelled that very shortly before release. And then kept players in the dark for nearly, again, 7 or 8 months before actually admitting that it wasn't their focus anymore. So if you take into account, they've actually delayed the full release of the game twice now. It was meant to come out last June. They said there was issues, they wanted to get more into it. They've been doing a great job. We can deal with that, we can live with that. They then said it would come in fall. And Christmas came and went, and they said it would come hopefully between now and the end of Q2. Of course, we're in Q3 now, and it's obviously coming out in August. So on top of all them issues, Ragnarok is now added. Again, released a trailer E3, hyping people up, getting people more interested in the game again, only to let people down. And that's what pisses me off. The game development is fine. If there are problems with the game, I have not got a problem with them doing stuff to it. If they make changes like the flying nerf or any other way, if they want to lock the centre behind progression, that's fine. That's their job to do. We can give them feedback, but they're making a game. It's their decision. But what I can't stand is the way they keep delaying shit with only the minimal amount of information. If it's not only announced a couple days before, they're vague as fuck for weeks and weeks. We funded this game. It was in early access. Without us paying for the game in early access, they would not have been able to develop it. So I think we are entitled to a bit more information. And for all the people that say just enjoy it and just wait until the update comes, it's no big deal. It is a big deal in the way the company are acting. If you continually hype things up, and like I've said, I've mentioned 5 things there that have hyped up and not delivered on, it's obviously going to piss people off, especially the amount of people that play this game constantly. No other game have I come across like this other than, you know, the big hitters like Call of Duties and even Minecraft. People who play Ark, who really get into it, is their life. They play it for 10 hours a day, some of them. The game requires you to play that much because you have to do that to tame creatures. You have to spend 3 or 4 days raising babies. It's a ridiculous notion. But we have bought into it. We are there. There are so many hardcore players out there playing official maps. So I'm not going to keep going on. But I do want them to improve. And I thought they had. At various points in the last year, I've come out of a video slating them for what they're doing in terms of talking to people or communicating with people. And after each event, they seem to get a little bit better. They take on board all the negative feedback. The fact is, I don't think any of us want to give them negative feedback. We don't want to write a load of bullshit and comments and shit and harassing them more to where the updates are or where the stuff is they promised. I'd rather let them just get on with it so they can develop the game and not have any stress from anyone getting a bad vibe or a negativity. But they bring it on themselves. All they have to do is shut the fuck up and just get on with it. The best bit of marketing they did last year was Scorched Earth. They didn't tell anyone about it. Apart from me and a couple of other people that knew it was coming, and we actually done some videos on it before it dropped saying there was going to be some DLC revealed, it was still a fantastic surprise. And it was ready. It was ready for Xbox, it was ready for PC exactly the same time. It hit the head, it hit the nail on the spot. When they announced mods like the centre map coming to console very early on, that's the kind of stuff I can get behind. That's the stuff I've hyped up. And that's why it pisses me off. Because I spend most of my time hyping up these events. It benefits me, of course, because I'm going to get views, but I don't do it just for that. I do it because I actually care, I actually like what I'm doing. And I just think enough is enough. Wildcard need to just raise their game. They keep getting this negative feedback from fans. All it takes is for them just not to tell us when something's coming out like that. Now, updates and things like that, like I said, I've not got a problem if they're delayed. But it's these events where they hype stuff up, like DLC, like end of game progress, like different modes. You think they would have learned their lesson. They clearly bite more than they can chew. And this isn't something that every early access developer does. There are good and there are some really bad ones. And Wildcard are somewhere in between. I think we'll all agree that games like DayZ and H1Z1 have taken way too long to actually upgrade and do anything with their games. And games like 7 Days to Die on console particularly, and even PC, 4 years in development is pretty much a huge amount of time considering how much money these companies have made. So they're probably the worst end of the spectrum. But then you've got developers like Subnautica, then you've got developers like Slime Rancher. Now some of these games are a bit different and they don't necessarily rely on the big open world mechanics. But these games continually hit what they promise. They announce trailers for stuff, they announce updates, and they always kind of hit. At most there's been a couple of days in between Slime Rancher's updates. Subnautica, all the rest this year, 2017, the update has come literally a few days after the PC or on the same day. It was only last year when they first come out that it took them a bit longer to get some of the stuff fixed for Xbox. There are lots of games out there I cover, and I'm using these as an example because these are the games that are available in early access on Xbox, and that's why I'm using them. But even games like We Happy Few continually show stuff and give us a bit of information, give us a trailer about what's coming up, and then they deliver that. So if all these companies can deliver that, why cannot Arc and Wildcard? With the amount of money they have made, and make no mistake, they have made hundreds of millions of dollars. But despite all that money they've made, communication costs nothing. Time and time again we get a shitty tweet post saying something's gone wrong, where probably half their fan base don't use Twitter. And yes, there is an official forum site, and yes, they do post stuff to it, but there's been lots of times where it's taken hours and hours or even days to actually get information on the forum. Nothing gets ever pinned on the first page. They've got a start screen on the Xbox and the PS4 and the PC telling you about Arc news when there's events, when there's an Evolution event, when the latest update has just been dropped and what it includes. So why can't they use that to let us know about big stuff like Ragnarok? Because they know it's going to make most of the fan base pissed off. By putting the information in small select places, they can say, oh, we did tell you guys. It wouldn't go amiss for them to come out and explain a bit more. They've finally come out and said what the problem was with the actual memory loss that made a problem on Xbox and then has caused a knock-on effect on Ragnarok. But you know what? Go a step further. Why don't you get one of the devs? Why don't you get Jeremy to do a little mini vlog? Go through the process and explain to us exactly how it works. That would go a long way to making a lot of disgruntled players feel better about the development of the game and the fact that you guys do care. At the moment, I reckon the amount of comments on my videos, and you go and check them, like I said, 90% of the comments are really fecked off at the moment. And it's not because of one bloody delay before anyone tries saying any bollocks. It's because it's happened time and time again. There's nothing wrong with loving a game, but actually not liking the way it's being developed or not agreeing with what they do. And this is Wildcard's problem. Bless them, they try and reach, they try and aim for stuff. They always want to include more stuff in the game. That's why you're always complaining, and me too, that they should have been focusing on bug fixes instead of adding more and more content. Other developers do that. It's not just the way you have to do it. So anyone that says that argument, bullshit. There's lots of developers out there that produce early access games with stable updates. Again, Slime Rancher is a really good example. So this idea that we always have to wait until the end of the game development before we start fixing shit is fucking bullshit. Considering the game is now due out in just a month's time, I'm really worried they're going to delay it again. They will lose a lot of money in advertisements. They've promoted it heavily. The game needs to be finished, and if that's the priority over things like Ragnarok and other DLC, that's fine. If they announce that the DLC is not going to come until launch now, I'd be okay with that, because I know that they'll be focusing fully on making sure the game's optimally running with no memory bugs or no crashes. But they don't. They keep just putting more crap in. They keep promising stuff and not delivering, and that is the problem with Wildcard. It's great to give people hype, and I've shown you guys the scorecard they showed at a GDC conference where they literally explained their ways of keeping the community hyped up for their game, to keep giving them something to look forward to. But in a way it's manipulation, and it's not very good because they don't deliver. So anyway, there you go. That's my opinion on it. And I'll flit, and tomorrow I'll be fine. I'll do update videos, I'll be playing the game, I'll be doing tutorials and guides, and I won't say boo to a goose about any of the update problems. Because that's the way I am. I'll get pissed off about something, I'll vent, I'll talk about it, and then I'm done. It's only when more crap keeps happening that it will trigger me to go a bit more into it. I have supported them, I supported them through the nerf, and I'm getting still a load of bollocks over that as well. And I get a load of shitty comments on my YouTube and sometimes Twitter messages as well. But that's what someone does if you support them. You support them as much as you can, and if they make mistakes and keep making mistakes, then you're entitled to give it some criticism. So there you go. I'll stop ranting now. I think definitely it's got to be like the rant number 7. It does affect how I do my channel as well. Obviously Ark is my main content. So every time new content is delayed or there's problems or issues, like I said, I hype this stuff up too. I was super excited about Ragnarok. I've done a couple videos on it when it got first announced. Try and give you guys information. I've got a dedicated server on PC at the moment, Ragnarok on, that I'm meant to be doing Let's Plays. But I feel like I can't actually do Let's Plays on it now, because everyone's going to be so negative towards it because they want to see it on console. I don't feel like I can show off any of the gameplay. So then that affects what content I am making, and that affects my ability to run my channel. And yeah, I could just shut up and I could just deliver the news and be really totally fucking vanilla. But you know what, there's plenty of YouTubes out there that if you want that kind of experience, you go for it. But me, I prefer people that have got opinions, even if it's stuff I don't agree with. So there you go, guys. All done and dusted. I've given you the information about the updates. I've gone on a mega massive long rant. I am going to be working on my 30,000 subscribers celebration video right now, and I'll see you ratbags for more info. The minute the updates drop, I will let you know. PC, Xbox and PS4.